Hi, welcome to easylearnings.in. Today I am going to show you how to record your first macro. So I have collected some data. You can see here in A column I have added some product name from P1 to P15, and from B column to M column the headings are month name from January month to December month. So while recording macro you have to take care of some things. Whenever you are going to record your macro, please decide your steps, what you are doing, how to do operations, what formula you are going to use, and what is the reference you are going to use. Reference means if you are using mouse, then macro will record mouse position. Or suppose if I select this data from A column to M column and I click on bold, macro will record A1 to M1, make it bold, and every time when you run macro will only select data from A1 to M1 and it will make bold. So if your data is suppose only 3 columns, or suppose your data is 100 columns, still macro will use A to M columns because you have selected cells using mouse. So what is the solution on this? You have to use keyboard. That is the first thing I have to say to you. So I am again doing regular font. So I am using Excel 2016 version. I will go to View tab. In View tab, you can find macros. Click on macros and click on Record Macro. You will see this screen. If you have 2016 version or 2013 version, you can find Record Macro button in View tab. If you have 2007 or 2010 version, then you have to add Developer tab and then you will find Record Macro button. Or simply you can see here is the shortcut button to record a macro. So I'm going to record my first macro. I will click on macros, record macro, and the window will appear. So here macro name. You can give any name to the macro, but remember, while giving macro name, you cannot use space between two letters or two words. See here, test 1. And if I click OK, it will not accept. So you can either give underscore between two words or just write one word. Okay, so you can give any name to the macro. Now shortcut key. You can assign shortcut key to the macro. Suppose I am assigning Q. So when you press Ctrl Q in this workbook, macro will run. Or you can also assign Ctrl Shift P. So press Shift and P, it will look like Ctrl Shift P. My advice here to don't use Excel default shortcuts to run a macro. Why? Because if someone using your macro and he doesn't know about shortcut key, then he will confuse. Suppose he has to give print, so he will definitely press Ctrl P to print, but then your macro will run and something can happen. So to avoid this type of confusions, simply use shortcuts which are not Excel default shortcuts. So I am giving Ctrl Q as a shortcut key. So third option is store macro in this workbook. Here you can see three options: personal macro workbook, new workbook, and this workbook. So what is this workbook means is your macro will save in this file. You can send this file to anybody via email, via Bluetooth, via sharing, and this macro will go with that file. So if you send this file to another person with another PC so he can run on that machine. But if you record your macro in personal macro workbook, that means this macro will save in this machine. So if you are using new file or any other Excel file, you can use this macro in other files, but only for your machine. If you send this file to another person, he cannot access this macro. So what is the benefit to record macros in personal macro workbook? Hmm? That I can say in short that if you have to do some operation on daily basis, you can record your macro in personal macro workbook. So you can just press Ctrl Q and macro will run. No need to every time go to that file and open and again do some operations. Okay, but in regular practice, select this workbook. Why? Because your macro will save in this workbook. So if you share this file, your macro will store in that file. If you record this macro in personal workbook and send this file to another PC, he cannot access your macro. Okay, you got the difference? Okay. In description, you can write anything for information only. So I am writing here. Okay, so I'm clicking OK. Now our macro started recording. So what I will do first step, I will select A1, then I will say I will press Ctrl Shift and right arrow key, and again down arrow key. Okay, so this will select my whole table. I will go to Home tab, click on Borders, again click on All Borders. Okay, so what I have done is I have selected my data and apply borders. Again I will click on A1. Remember your mouse click also records. So when you click on cell, macro will record that cell address, and every time macro will select this cell. So I will go to A1 cell. Okay. Now I have to write some formula. Okay. So I will use keyboard keys to record macro. Here I will write equal to sum of, or I will simply press Alt and equal to the auto sum shortcut. So it will show formula sum of B2 to B16. I will press enter. Okay. Now I am clicking on view macro, stop recording. This is my just basic macro. I am not going to record all things at a one time. We will see what macro has been recorded. Click on macros, click on view macros. You will see macro name here. You can see buttons. Run means run the macro. Step into means you can run macro step by step. Edit means you can see all the programming. So here I am clicking on edit. See test macro. This macro is for test. This is our description. Here is keyboard shortcut Control plus Q. Here is some VBA language. Okay. Range A1 select. Here our reference. Range selection. It will auto create programming lines. So I will close it. I will delete this sum formula. I am removing borders. Now I am pressing. I am just running macro through this window. I will click run. See, it macro added the formula. Also, it select data and apply borders. Again, I am selecting data, removing borders, and creating some formula. Now I am pressing Ctrl Q. See, within fraction of second your macro is working. So this is, you are going to record and see your first macro. Please leave your reply at easylearnings.in. How do you like this video? Okay. Have a nice day. Goodbye.